Matters Politics and Matters Governance. My name is Tamara Patience, and I'm joined by two gentlemen, that is Mr. Henry Nyamwe and Mr. Emmanuel Bosire, who will help us analyze as well as be part of the discussion on K&A table today. So a lot is happening in the country, Kenya, of course, and we know that when you join the K&A table, we ask the question: who did what, where, when, why, how, and as usual, how much more or less is the taxpayer going to spend, or how much more or less is the country going to spend? So join us in our discussion today, and be sure to hit the comment section with your comments as well as your opinions, as well as suggestions on the matters that we're discussing here, as well as matters you'd love us to discuss as well as touch on. Now, starting us off, we saw the president, that is William Ruto, earlier on today, commissioned the National Psychoeducational, National Psychoeducational Assessment and Research Center, and flagged off more than 200 vehicles for the county directors of education, that is in Nairobi, accompanied by the Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Ezekiel Machogu, as well as Johnson Sakaja, who is the Nairobi governor. Also in present was the Kasarani MP, that is Ronald Karauri, as well as Nairobi Women Rep, that is Esther Pasaris, that is among very many other leaders. Now, earlier today, now the president has actually stated, or it is stated, that he's actually set to cut his traveling budget, that is by 500 million shillings, in order to support learners with disabilities. And of course, as I said earlier on, he spoke this during the flagging off of the motor vehicles for education officers in Kasarani, that is today. Now, I don't know, what do you guys deem by this? Let's start by, of course, looking at the president's expenditure, that is in the financial year 2022-2023. The floor is very much open to both of you.
Let me start. By the way, for me, what I can say is that it's unfortunate for Kenyans. We elected a president who is more of a tourist than a president of the republic. You see, there are so many things we need to compare with this regime and the previous regime, the former regime. All we are seeing or hearing in all these meetings actually is as if the president is not seriously working for Kenyans. You see, yeah, you see now, he has been 38 times in the foreign trips. I'm coming to because comparing with the other regime, Kenyatta went 31 times for 10 years. Ruto has gone foreign trips 38 for 1 year. What about 5 years, 1 term? The number will double. And again, when coming to in terms of development, when even US dollar, when Uhuru came to power, the dollar was 90. At 90, and they left it at 120. And when you compare with this regime, the dollar is at 150 foreign exchange rate, according to World Bank report. And there are so many things we need to compare. Actually, there are many promises that the president has given, like the ones you are asking for. But after a few days, you realize most of these things are not going on. They are not working. And then you become surprised why and what happens. like what actually they purport to do, what they have done. He has been going around, go around all of the project he has initiated to Western Province. Like if you have not forgotten, like Mumias, where he promised people so many things concerning Mumias and other reviving the companies, sugar companies in Mumias, Nyanza. Apart from that, so many things actually I cannot mention because there are so many. Nothing has started and nothing has happened on the ground. Okay. Uh, Again, there are foreign trips. What I'm worried and surprised, I don't know whether there are other Kenyans who are worried like me, like foreign trips. Again, they have been going, not himself with his debut, but actually the outcome of all those trips is negative. There's no clear indication. When they come back, they don't tell Kenyans what exactly they have achieved from all these trips. So that's why I'm saying, even what was done today, I don't think that anything is going to happen. Okay. Uh, Maybe that's my suggestion, but that's what I'm seeing on the ground. Nothing is completely done.
And Emmanuel, would you give credit to President William Ruto for the much that he has done right now, or do you share the same sentiments as Mr. Nyamwe?
No, I will raise up my voice to give my own opinion regarding to the expenditure of the president and the foreign trips that he has made. We first have to agree that some foreign trips are very important. Remember, one of the roles of the president is to represent the country in international forums. So we cannot just sit and say that the president is making trips outside the country when he's really performing his role that he has been mandated to do by the voters who wake up and voted for him. And on this regard, in as much they seem to be many, we have to get, maybe sit and analyze the first ever trip that he ever did. What did it entail? What were the reasons that made him to go out by different organizations, like representing Kenya in the UN, the United Nations, discussions on how to move Africa at large to the next level. So when having emergency meetings, the president going to sit with the UN security team, organizing on our way, how as a country can take the police officers to take care for lives in Haiti cannot be equivalented that the president is just going out. And we also want to understand that some trips are fully paid and organized for other organizations. Not every trip that a president goes out is for sure Kenyans' money. And that said and maybe understood, it might be a surprise. Leadership is very dynamic. I remember him having a Zoom meeting with the CEO and the owners of TikTok. When he did not make it, but they had to find a video conferencing meeting, and he was here in Kenya. But things had to move on. So from my own opinion, I cannot really agree that the 8 meetings that he has gone out are not for benefit to our country. And two, you find out that he's coming out as maybe the unexpected president. You see, when the 2022 elections were being held, you find out that the Azimio coalition had high chances of taking it. And maybe the foreign countries and maybe the foreign influence had to support to some extent Raila Odinga. But this is not the case. The president is William Ruto. So still he has to make ways on how to move outside and convince the external leadership that indeed is the president, and whatever they could have done with their preferred candidate, he also can able to do or even further better. But on the point of saying that from his expenses of traveling, is going to give 500 million to cater for maybe education. And from that point, I can really say that as a country, then we are lost because our budget, we had the 2024, 2024 year, and the estimated budget for education was set aside, and for his travel was set aside. So saying that part of my money that I will be spending will be used in education or other projects does not really sound up to anyone outside there, because for sure people will be asking, and then where now what will happen now that this travel is increased, and maybe something is needed, so you see we're going to have another supplementary budget maybe. So on that, maybe before I forget, the president expansion, and maybe talking about the inflation. Inflation is not something that we as a country create.
No.
In as much there is inflation as a country, this is due to market force. So the market force all over the world. We remember we had the effect of coronavirus, COVID-19. They had to print more dollars. So you know, when you have inflation, means there's a lot of circulation of money. Now, meaning this money, in as much as in circulation, does not have a value. So means and ways could be looked at on how to reduce the circulation of money in the market, and not really that it should be kept. You know, money must circulate for it to have its own value, but it should not be too much money in circulation. It should be regulated, and that's why we have the World Bank, that's why we have the central bank, and that's why we have monetary funds, which play that role. So for the president doing more trips as possible, let him do many, so long as a country we are moving forward. You know, it could be is building a foundation of the relationship between him and the international forum. So if you don't have a good relationship, let's say with America, who would give you money from one? So we need also to see and agree that these trips are not, in as much they could be many, they could also be coming with advantages. You must go strike a deal with the government of China. China, as we saw the other day, they're launching projects in our country. You saw, so when these trips come, they come with their advantages. So unless you want to see the president each and every day,
I think also there are many questions we need to ask ourselves about these trips before we conclude or hope the best out of these trips.
What
What I
questions
want
would
to
you
say
suggest we ask?
is that, you know, I'm comparing the trips. No, it's not, or okay. Yeah, Manuel has mentioned about UN. I understand and I know very well that UN does reimbursement of other trips, but most of the trips our president has gone actually is using taxpayers' money. And are these trips for our president only, not other presidents? Because this is comparable all over with other presidents. Does it mean our president is the only one who is looking for all these maybe ways and means of assisting Kenyans? What I meant is that he has done so much trips, he has gone too many trips. Actually, out of these trips, there's no clear prescription. They don't explain actually what they have met or have come out with out of these trips. They just go and come back. Actually, you mentioned about budget. A budget is made yearly in annual financial year. And everything, any project is budgeted for. We keep on wondering, some of ourselves, maybe we don't know, but there are even projects that are the president is going on, initiating or talking about. Some of them are not budgeted. We are wondering, you have talked about supplementary budget. You know, already we have done supplementary budget of 1.9 trillion, 191 trillion, amounting to the total of 191 billion, 91.9 trillion.
Give us the exact.
Listen, Emmanuel.
I want to get
amounting in total 3.91 total budget of this country, including the
there's something I'm not understanding. Get the supplementary budget that was made past. It was which amount? Which figure?
I think it's 191.
191 what?
Trillion. 191 trillion.
And what's the
let me explain. Listen first.
This is over 2 months.
Not
191 trillion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, in total, the budget that of this year, what we have made this year is 3.19 trillion.
Yes, so budget. Get us correct that it's 3.9 trillion as a country for the year 2023.
Yeah, for the year, which has never happened. Which has never been done.
The 191 trillion you are talking about. Okay. Or you mean something else?
Okay, they have met already supplementary budget. The supplementary budget you are talking about.
So the supplementary is
already the supplementary budget is out.
Yes.
Adding up to the budget for this year, in total is 3.91 trillion. So we have gone ahead even in our budget. Actually, what I want to say is, we are not blaming the president about even if he goes 100 times, but out of these trips actually, like now he was in Belgium. I wonder what he was doing there. The deputy president was in Belgium. I wonder what he was doing there. How is it benefiting Kenyans?
But let me just stop you there and ask you a question. And I think Emmanuel also posed the same question. So would it be more beneficial to Kenyans if the president as well as the deputy president stick around in Kenya? Because if you said every single time the president is out of the country, we actually, or there are deals that are actually signed. Yes. Same as to what happened in China when he visited China, when he came from America, the same thing. We keep on receiving funds. We have seen Kenya receive funds from China, most of the time. So would it be recommendable if the president stops his trips? And for example, we've seen Kenya being given billions in cash, Ruto's office over 2023-2024 has spent over 56 million Kenya shillings. Let's be honest, that's not a lot of money. It is a lot of money because it's 4 times more than the predecessor, but it is not a lot of money compared to what Kenya benefits from this particular trip.
Okay, what we are saying, in simple terms, is over borrowing, and they promised Kenyans that you will never borrow. He wants to use taxpayers' money. That was the promise for the president, William Samuel Ruto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not ruling out all of these trips, but what we are saying, all of these trips is using taxpayers' money. And down here, people are crying for the ailing economy. Okay, what I want to say, or what I'm saying, is that it's not all of these trips that are not beneficial to Kenyans. Some of them, yes. But what about all the 38 within 1 year? And remember, any trip he goes, he must spend taxpayers' money. You see, What are we gaining? What are Kenyans gaining out of these trips? That's what we are asking. And that's what people are asking outside there.
Now,
of course.
Henry,
yes.
Maybe to ask you a question. You've asked a simple question and I was worried. You're asking us,
yes,
why is the deputy president in Belgium?
Not why is the deputy president in Belgium. What I said, even what I saw the deputy president doing in Belgium, actually, he has been going around Belgium. I don't know whether he has left there today, but he went to see Kenyans who are Belgium.
Okay.
And actually,
that one you've answered.
Yeah.
Let me now ask you a question. Kenyans who are in Belgium and Kenyans who are in diaspora, do they play any role in developing our country?
They play a great role. They fought. We have diaspora votes. They
Now,
fought.
when we don't support them, when we don't go there, how will we get them supporting our country?
You know, we are not talking about the issue of the Kenyan citizens who are in Belgium. Does not arise anywhere. What I'm saying is that it is the same time, the same case like what the other trip he went to Cuba, from Cuba to British Columbia. At the end of the day, he came out without anything, any information.
When he went
so
to
at the same
he
time,
never went to research a market on our coffee.
what did he come with? He told Emmanuel.
Here we need to
I think
honest.
I think we need to give credit
We
where
want to
credit
be
is
honest.
due for what this particular group of people bring
And
to
what
Kenya.
did he say?
Aside
When he
from
came back, what did he say? He said, Kenyans, we are divided. We cannot afford to work with these cartels.
now
Can we play that video? Can we get that video, please?
Before we get into that, when we're talking about strengthening international relations, and we go back to President Ruto saying that he's going to cut part of his traveling budget allowance in order to support learners with disabilities. Now, the main aim was to fund or build a manufacturing plant that is for assistive devices for learners with disabilities. Of course, in Kenya, land in Kenya,
Mavoko.
suggestively Mavoko.
You know,
Now, just hold on a moment, because I'm coming there to you. Now, when the president visited China, he actually came back with an observation about local manufacturing in Kenya, you know, the kind of imports that we make in Kenya, and thus arising this suggestion to actually now build a plant in Kenya that is actually going to be able to ensure local manufacturing for these assistive devices for learners with disabilities, because if we can make it at home, why is there need to import it? Now, isn't that something beneficial for our country, Kenya, if we look at that sector? And I'm going to come again to you, Manuel, so that you can explain to us. Of course, there's a budget that has been set aside for education, but now this is something new that has come up. You know, anytime you go out, you see a new innovation and you want to bring it home. So is it wrong for him to cut that out of his budget, even if it was not budgeted for by the education ministry?
You know, we first need to agree that as a country, we don't do things because we go and copy.
Mm-hmm.
We need to first see its role. A team is set aside to do the research on what a country needs to come up with. And then after they come with a full report, just like we had with the change of 844 system to CBC curriculum, a team had to give its report and suggestions and see how it will be fully implemented. Now, not that the president's only way in seeing something happening then brings it to be happening then. And we need to agree. We have short-term goals as a country, we have medium goals as a country going for 5 to 7 years, and we have long-term goals. At the moment, we have Vision 2030 as a country. This vision started a long time ago. By then, will we have achieved this vision? By what President Mwai Kibaki sat and saw, that when I start this foundation and leave it, by whoever is going to continue it, come 2030, will it be what he had foreseen that time? Now, talking about the budget being cut from the president and when to fit in. Remember, our curriculum is not fully supported. The CBC, one of the challenges that's undergoing is that it's lack of finance, lack of infrastructure. Students in schools are not fully sorted out. So you find out that they are still in the same primary schools, but moving to senior secondary schools, junior secondary schools in the same environment. Something that should not be the case according to the new curriculum. Now, coming up with a factory and manufacturing plant to support students who are needy and maybe the ones when to be supported, you find out that our system, maybe to ask you one of the few questions, when we go to public places, How many attempts we find vehicles branded, places left for people with disabilities? Are they the ones who normally sit there?
Obviously, no.
No, in most cases, they are not the ones.
Yeah.
So you find out that we as Kenyans, our culture, this is something that we need to develop by. Now that we're having an increase of number of students with disabilities, and these are students with special needs, we have these schools all over. We have them, they're running, they're taking care of our students who have got disabilities. But now to bring them, it's like how now to adopt them. They have been trained all over. Where do they get their jobs? This is what's in the mind of the president and the leadership. You know, we have many schools that take care of these students. When they go maybe to their you know, their system of education is somehow different from normal students.
Yeah.
Now you find out that they've done maybe break, they have done out maybe even they do their sport. Now where are they brought in and incorporated in the in the in a homemade factory?
Now, Mr. Henry Nyamwea, there's something you wanted to say, and also I'd like you to touch on the issue of Mavoko demolitions happening. Of course, you know, the land issue in Kenya is very big. It's the current topic of discussion, you know. Houses demolished, churches demolished, schools demolished, a manufacturing plant for assistive devices for learners with this probably being put there.
Disabilities.
No.
You know, I'm sometimes surprised to hear that we have some of us who really support what's going on in this country. Actually, I'm coming there. I'm also not ruling out that the president is not doing anything. Of course, there are projects you are seeing as if something is there to happen. But to me, I'm seeing nothing out of those projects that are initiated everywhere. What comes out of what I'm seeing is like that there are no clear indication of what exactly the president is thinking or is doing, because what is promising Kenyans, what is going round doing, in fact, is not happening. Coming to Mafoko. Coming to Mafoko. Me personally, I've been in that land. Apart from going there, every Kenyan right now knows about Mafoko. Every Kenyan, even if you are hiding somewhere, you must have known what's really happening with Mafoko land. They say it was for the East African Veteran Summit, which has already announced after 15 acres on sale. And again, part of the land where houses were demolished is where the president is saying part of it will be for disabilities. I don't know what they're going to build there, but that's what I heard. They are going to divide the land into 3 times. One for disabilities, I don't know, and another one for affordable housing units, and another one. But actually, from reliable sources and what is on the ground now is that they meant they want to grab that land using the name of East African Portland Cement. Wait. That land is up to be grabbed right now. That's what is
now. How can government grab its land? You know, at times we
and that is the question we want to answer. Because you know it's government land.
If you can spare me a minute,
it seems, please.
How can a government
before I forget, land? It seems that there is things you don't understand actually.
Actually, you are the one who does not understand.
I'm sorry to say that.
You need to go and
You
do
know,
research.
a government is for the people, not leaders. What the government needs, the government needs is a CEO, a manager. You see? Okay, Ruto is that of the state. What I'm trying to say, of course, Mafoko land, Mafoko land is for the government. It will be for the government when the lease has expired. But for now, what they are saying, the lease has not been renewed or has not expired.
Allow me to speak. Allow me.
And yet, they are having that land.
Allow me ask you, Henry.
Okay.
You are learned, and maybe you could be ahead of me in some years, and I could be your son at times.
It's true.
I want you to tell me,
Yes,
which land in any part of the country that does not belong to the government?
Emmanuel, you understand very well.
No, just answer me. I've asked you as a child asking a father.
Can't you give me
Tell
time?
me.
You have asked me. Don't dictate me on how to answer you.
Yes,
Listen and answer.
And answer many others. Which land does not belong to the government?
What you should know, any land belongs to the government.
Yes.
Title deeds are issued by the government.
Yes.
But remember, there is land that is given through lease to other companies. And this is the land we are talking about.
And how long does it take?
Give me time. I'm answering you.
How long does it
I'm answering you. Lease expires after 99 years.
And then?
I know. You are asking me what
the family would do next?
After 99 years, Tamara, after 99 years, the lease is supposed to be renewed. After 99 years.
No.
Now, maybe I'm the one who is not, who doesn't know what exactly is going on. But the questions Kenyans, including me, are asking themselves: did the lease really expire? Okay, when the government, even if the land is for the government, Emmanuel, what I'm telling you, even if the government is the land is for the government, but if it was leased, it still remains under the hands.
And what was the court ruling? And what was the court ruling over the land?
The land should go back to East African Borderland Cement.
And then?
Now,
where does land grabbing come in?
Listen.
I want us to
okay, have you asked yourself a simple question? And why then is the government coming in, purporting to divide that land if the lease has not expired? That's why we are saying there is something hidden that the government doesn't want to come out clearly and tell people what exactly is there. Okay, spare me a minute. You see, okay, the government wants to build whatever it wants on that land. But it is not coming out clearly and say, maybe we have bought this land from the owners, or this is what we have done as per the agreement between the government and East African Portland Cement. Okay, already they have demolished houses from that land in the name of East African Portland Cement. Again, the government, the same government, is saying it wants to occupy that land and makes use of it. Then who is now the owner of the land if the lease has not expired? That's my question. But I understand the land is for the government.
No.
Yeah.
Now, before you, only a minute, I will tell only a minute.
Yes.
Seems we don't really understand laws regarding land in our country.
Rose.
Now, I want to shift a little bit from Mavogo and move on to what is happening in Kirima land. The Kirima family and the court ruling that has been made for people to evacuate that land. When we see the Kirima family bring down houses, mansions in that land, will be the government fighting development?
No. You said you are like my son. Let me repeat that statement, that my son, then you are like my son. What I'm saying, there are court rulings, of course. There are court rulings on Kirima land, as well as there was a court ruling on Mafoko land. But note that Kenyans doesn't understand that the processes which are supposed to be followed in regarding the transactions concerning land, even if it is leased or to an individual like Kirema. Okay. What we are saying, it is simple and clear. The government is saying it wants to build affordable houses, units in this land, the Mafoko land. I'm going back, but I'm not satisfied with the Mafoko land. And already it has demolished houses of billions of money. Now, what I'm asking, what I'm surprised of, which houses, which types of houses are they going to build, and they are demolishing the ones which are already built?
I think this discussion is a never-ending discussion because number one, of course, we need to know who owns the land, and we've seen it's the government.
Yeah.
Number two, most people are very much misinformed about acquiring land or purchasing land, especially land that is government owned.
Yes.
And we've had this discussion over and over, clearly asking why for example, Mavoko demolitions. Fit or not fit,
Yeah.
and then those who say it is fit because once you occupy government land, you know that it's not permanent. We've also seen other areas in Kenya where people are even given warnings 10 years prior to demolitions to evacuate land, but they are still staying there. And when it comes to that time when the land is demolished, then people start complaining. Again, we even saw the land seers clearly tell people to follow the right ways, or the right ways of actually acquiring land, including holding discussions, or better yet, visiting the survey offices as well as the land offices in Kenya. And of course, we have sort of digressed from what we were talking about, because it was initially about government expenditure. Of course, we had to touch on the issue of the Mavoko land, because that is where we're probably seeing this manufacturing plant being put there in order to ensure or facilitate local manufacturing. Now, of course, we're going to be having a discussion later on lands, as well as what are some of the things that you should look for or look out for when purchasing land, or better yet, when occupying land, and what happens, or what is the next step to take if you have been evacuated, or if your house has been demolished, if it was on government land as well as other land. So that is a discussion that I think we're going to have, just a plain discussion on acquisition of land in Kenya. And moving on, so today was actually the birthday of the former president of Kenya, that is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and for that, of course, we're saying happy birthday to you. And of course, a couple of leaders were present, inclusive of those from the Azimio la Umoja as well as from the Jubilee Party. Now, part of the people who were talking, who were talking there, we had David Murathe, who clearly mentioned that, or clearly stated or gave an order that the current whip who has been chosen, that is Mike Mwenje, should whip all Jubilee members who have deserted Azimio la Umoja. And apart from that, he also touched on the issue of Sabina Chege as well as Kanini Kega. Now, first of all, of course, this was a day for celebrations, not a day for politics, but it turned into politics. Now, do we see, or now that Sabina Chege and Kanini Kega are out of the picture, are we possibly going to see unification of Jubilee Party from its previous division to now being one party speaking in one voice, making one decision as a party?
I don't know. I cannot. The matter sometimes. I always say politicians are very funny.
Mhm.
They are not straightforward.
No.
what a politician tells you today means a different thing tomorrow.
Oh.
You know, uh, in politics, you have to fight for space. There is one thing I learned about politics. You have to create or fight for space. So we are all aware what actually Savina Chege wanted to do and the Kanini Kega. They had already taken sides to the other joining UDA, whereby the party that nominated them into where they are today is already divided. They are divided with the other members, like the one now who was taken over from Savina Chege.
No.
Me, I knew it. You know, a politician can use you and damn you at the same time. Well, that's what you should know. And I've seen that. It has happened even to Museraira, it has happened to everyone. Once, even those supporters of an MP at the constituency level. Remember, when he comes back, he doesn't use the same agents or supporters. What do I want to say? For now, I don't know what I can say. It's because it is earlier, but for now, you know, what is needed in Mount Kenya or Central, what they are saying, they want to come together for the unity of Mount Kenya.
No.
Whereby, ukiwangalia, they are divided already. And even Sabina Chege cried yesterday. She broke into tears. Sorry. Meaning, what happened touched her heart. And if you hear what the deputy president is saying, there's something I want to combine here. If you hear what the deputy president says, and Uhuru already, from reliable sources, has said he doesn't want any unity with Gachagua. That's what is on the ground today. And remember, Murate is the uncle of Uhuru. He has been representing Uhuru, being a chairman in the party, deputy chairman, even the businesses. They are family businesses. So if you want to know exactly what is in the heart of Uhuru, know it from Murat and the other members. You see, like Jeremiah Kioni, the likes of Jeremiah Kioni, the former governor Muranga, and the others. So why is this happening in this time? If you go back to Central Province right now, let me leave aside other parts of Mount Kenya. Central Province, it is divided. Even if Gachagua is saying they grant 77 votes for Ruto in Central, in Mount Kenya, 77%, and 13 voted the side of Uhuru. Actually, that's not true. Does it mean there were no votes that were spoiled? There were no spoiled votes. When you say 77 voted for Ruto and 13 voted for Raila, it means if they voted 100%.
So 77 plus 13, what do you get?
77.
Plus
Okay, that's a few margin remaining.
What do you get?
That's a very few, small on
Even as you think on that mathematics, on that math, let's pick it and maybe give the summary.
But actually,
Let's give this summary.
Okay, I want to give a summary. What I'm saying, even if Emmanuel, the smaller person remaining cannot fit the
Which small
spoil.
person? In mathematics, numbers don't lie. What he's saying is what is in IBC portals. Even if you log in and see the number of
No,
votes.
what I'm saying, does it mean there are no registered voters who did not vote?
They are in the system.
Yeah, they are.
It's put in the system, including the number.
But they never voted. Voters. Those ones who never voted and the votes that were spoiled. That's what they cannot be 10%. That's what I want to say.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
They,
what
can,
I'm
they
saying.
cannot be
Anyway,
10%.
and unless we go back to the IBC portal,
Okay,
but,
okay, it's all the same.
unless we go back to the
Next time,
IBC portal, because
you know,
as per this result,
These discussions
17
here, we do them for professionals. We don't come here to say what's rumors. When you come with facts, Mzenyemwea, like Rigathi is giving facts. In as much it did not deliver 100%. What he's trying to say is working out on the 13% that the opponents took. Come 2027, he clears them. Back to
Are you saying
to Jubilee?
Are you saying what I'm saying is rumors? 77 plus 13. How many votes are those?
90%, of course.
95%.
Yeah, we
So
have a 10.
do you want to say is your
remaining.
mathematics now accurate? Is that what you want to say?
No. But okay, let's move on from this and agree that number one, from of course the IBC results, we'll see the number of people who voted, the percentage of people who voted.
But it's a symbol.
Who voted. Who voted? Let me finish fast.
A symbol calculation.
Let me finish fast.
77 plus 13.
Yes,
that's 90%.
that is 90%.
Is that mathematics correct?
Of course.
According to Emmanuel.
Of course
90%. So they is it 90%?
We have a 10% gap or a 10% deficit. And of course, as I stated earlier on, unless we go back and see what IBC has posted, then we can come out with accurate numbers. But now, Emmanuel, your summary because of time, so that we can move on to our final
it can
discussion.
be only clear if we didn't know the registered number of voters in Mount Kenya. Total number of registered voters in Mount Kenya.
So you want to
so that we may know, yeah.
So you want to calculate a math that's already done.
According to what you are saying, Emmanuel.
We need to be honest.
Excuse me. Your summary. Let's go back to Jubilee.
Okay, let us leave it that way. Let us leave it for rumors.
No. We're not leaving it for. There's no rumors. It's all about being factual. It's all about being factual, and IBC has done all that, of course.
You know when we are here, we are not 100% accurate. But when we use a term that rumors, nobody knows here.
Let's go back to Jubilee.
Yeah.
Emmanuel, let's go back to Jubilee strictly.
Now back to Jubilee, and we need to agree that I will borrow a point from him. He said that politicians are not true. But again, they never told us they are true. They always tell us they differ in interests.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no permanent enemy in friendship in politics.
No.
And you ought to know that. Now, back to Jubilee and see the rise of Jubilee and the fall of Jubilee. So the rise of Jubilee comes in 2013, just when we had the elections. Remember, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were at Hague facing charges against killings of humanity. Here, they drew a deal. And they're coming back. Uhuru going for the presidential seat. William Ruto going for the deputy seat.
Mm-hmm.
It brought the rise of Jubilee. So the rise of Jubilee was TNA plus URP and other political parties that came together. So in 2017, we see the split of Jubilee. William Ruto is splitting out, is removing himself, or he was shown signs that Uhuru Kenyatta was not to support him in 2022. As a president, as a deputy president who was ambitious to look for a way to become a president, gets away on how to start a Jubilee Assembly. Do you know Jubilee Assembly? The rise of Jubilee Assembly?
Please continue.
And even they brought their headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
So the split of Jubilee Assembly, moving forward, Deputy President William Ruto then did not trust the Jubilee Assembly. The likes of Moses Kudu, the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah, the likes of Kipchumba Murkomen. Then, I remember Kipchumba Murkomen was the majority in Senate. It was removed, actually. And somebody from Pogesho, Siju Pogesho, given that seat. And many others were punished for having left Jubilee, joining Jubilee Assembly. And here, Jubilee Assembly gave rise to UDA. So when it has given rise to UDA, at the moment, we don't have problems in UDA. We have problems in ODM, and we have political problems in Jubilee as a party. we have the constitutions and guidelines that guide political parties in our country. So in these political parties, you find out that who is the chairman or who is the chairman for Jubilee. So according to the leadership of Jubilee, who President Uhuru Kenyatta being the head of it, in as much his term came out to an end, he should have given its leadership to someone else. So the problem that Jubilee is having is about leadership wrangles that's affecting it. Now, with trusting the President Uhuru Kenyatta does not trust. He's working with President William Ruto, by all means. So William Ruto also is working ways to break Jubilee. So by breaking Jubilee, he will get easy access to Mount Kenya. But now Jubilee has realized what's happening in its own party. They want to clean the mess that had happened in Jubilee and make sure that it's under the right owners, under the right leadership, moving it next with its own agenda. So when President Uhuru Kenyatta is bringing sanity and cleaning his own political party, now that is the one owning it, there's no problem. Now, the likes of Sabina Chege and baby Kanini Kega being moved out. So it meaning that it's cleaning of Jubilee party that's ongoing. Just as like we saw ODM. ODM is punishing members who are not loyal to ODM. Just like UDA can punish members who are not loyal to ODM.
Yeah. And at that point,
before you get out of that point, according to Political Parties Act, leaders or members are elected by NDC, National Delegates Convention. There is no member. That's very clear, and it's in the Act, according to Political Parties Act. Leaders are elected in the NDC, not an order. Okay, let me go back to Ruto. There's something you mentioned about Ruto. It's not true. What happened? They dissolved their parties and formed one single party called Jubilee. Ruto had URP. He dissolved URP and joined Jubilee. The same case for Uhuru from where TNA and joined, and very many other leaders. You see, so now the problem here, the ones that are within Jubilee, is because they have not had NDC. That's what Uhuru did. And if in any case, Sabina Chege, Kanini Kenya, and other Bear members were to join, and that is the time when Uhuru was to hand over to another chairman, not in an hotel or an office, any private office. Are you getting that? In any political parties, that is the rule. Leaders are elected at the NDC convention. What Sabina Chege and Kanini Kega did, they went to Naivas and convened a meeting of few MPs, excluded other Jubilee members. That's where the problem arises from. So, what we should know, we should know in this discussion, any political party members are elected at the NDC convention. That is the rule according to Political Parties Act. So that's why Uhuru convened a meeting, and it specifically wanted or invited all Jubilee delegates who are supposed to come. But because they had vested interest in joining UDA, that's why it became difficult. They became divided already. When they joined UDA, they became divided. That was the problem. Yeah. Uhuru has not been stuck in Jubilee. Even UDA is not going to exist. Even UDA is not going to exist. I'm telling you. After first term of Ruto, you will never hear about UDA.
And that's what has been happening.
Well, you yourself said politics is very, very funny and changes from time to time. It's never certain, you know. And to our dear viewers, we've just taken a look at number one, the issue about cleaning the Jubilee House, as well as President Ruto, that is cutting his traveling budget in order to support learners with disabilities. And finally, we have seen the likes of news that we haven't discussed, but I'd like us to take just 30 seconds each, a comment on Kawira Mwangaza's impeachment, that is by the Mary County Assembly, with a total of 59 MCAs out of 69 voting to support the impeachment motion. 30 seconds.
Now who starts?
Let's start from your end and finish with Mr. Henry Nomar.
No, let him start like here.
Why were you asking? And then
I'll be starting.
we are wasting our 30 seconds. Okay.
Let him start.
I am Mr. Nyamoya.
Okay, me, I can do whatever. So, what you are saying, actually, when we are elected as leaders, let us go back to the ground. The needs of the people who elected you and the people who are working with you. What I can say, okay, even though there are forces against Kawira Mwangaza, fighting against her. And remember, Kawira Mwangaza was elected in an independent candidate. So he has no MCAs. He was elected as an independent candidate. You see where the problem is. The MCAs are for Kiraitu Murungi and the other parties, Kinamuna, and some from Jubilee, some for Jubilee and others from Muda. Now, the problem with Mama...
10 seconds remaining.
The problem with Mama Kawira Mwangaza, I'm sorry, by the way, the problem is, if I were Kawira Mwangaza, and having known exactly what's happening in Meru and what's on the ground, I would have called all these people together, we sit down and start working together with them. You see, because they are the ones who are MCAs. That's why they get it easy to impeach her. Yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel?
One, she will survive the impeachment. We get to understand that the MCAs don't actually impeach the governor. No. The only thing they do, the initial process. They only start the process, then send it to the Senate. No. Going to the Senate, UDA has the majority. So by all means, she will survive. The only thing that we are not certain is the next term. If need be, she wants to defend it. So the problem in Meru is only political, not against Mwangaza. Maybe she's not delivering. Linturi and many others from Meru are fighting her. But she'll survive the impeachment process. If you doubt this, take it to the bank. Nyemoya, we will cash it out.
No, actually, even from my sentiments, I'm not saying that
it's okay. So
we cannot...
We'll pick that conversation after we're done with the show. So now we're winding up, of course. Thank you so much for joining us in the Q&A table. Most definitely, we have this and many more discussions on matters politics and matters governance. And of course, to our dear viewers, we're looking to see, will Kawira Mwangaza survive the Senate? Will she be saved by the Senate? That is the question that we are asking. And from the Q&A table, we are saying